Hi guys, welcome to my blog, I guess my video blog. Today's topic will be COALESCE versus ISNULL. Should go and write that down. So it'll be about COALESCE versus ISNULL. Alright, the reason for this topic is because it's a common question asked during interviews. I had actually quite often, if it's a phone screen, then someone might ask what the differences are. Like if you meet somebody in real life and they might ask you what the difference between those two is. Those two are. And also I wrote a blog post about ISNULL versus COALESCE, and it actually got a lot of traffic, and so that's the reason for this quick video. So we'll talk about how ISNULL is similar to COALESCE. We'll talk about the differences, and there's a lot of differences, and the differences are very subtle. So yeah, so let's get started. So first thing is the first difference that between ISNULL and COALESCE. Let's talk about how they're similar. They're similar in a sense that both of them returns the first non-null value. So let's do a quick example of COALESCE and ISNULL, where they both return the first null value. I'm going to declare two variables, a and b. Let's make this a varchar 3, and let's set this to null, and then we'll make another one called b, and we'll set this to, let's put USD, so US dollars. Let's do a select and ISNULL of a and b. And ISNULL of a and b. Alright, so here, they'll both return the first non-null value, which is USD. So if you run this query, then we have USD and USD return. So that's how they're similar. They both return the first non-null value, but COALESCE is a little bit different in the sense that it could take more arguments. So we could go and make another variable called C, and I set this to euro. So if you make this, so COALESCE, you could go and add another argument and run, and it still returns. But if you added C to ISNULL, then ISNULL will throw an error, because ISNULL function only accepts two arguments, and of course we have an error that says the ISNULL function requires two arguments, so it can only take two, it cannot take three. So that's one difference between ISNULL and COALESCE, is that the amount of arguments that one can take. And let's look at another difference between them. I'm going to go and set variable b to null. So we have two null values now, and let's do this and do this. Put a null here, and a null here, and take ISNULL and passing a null value and a null value. Alright, so this is straightforward. In a sense, we have two variables, a and b. A is the type of a is varchar, the type of b is varchar, and they're both set to null. And in theory, if you just look at this, you might say that both of them will return both these COALESCE queries will return the same value, but it doesn't. So if you run the first one, it'll return null, but if you run the second one, let's run the second one, it'll throw an error, and the error says at least one of the arguments to coalesce must be a type null. So this means that you cannot have a constant null. You cannot, every single argument in coalesce cannot be a constant null. It must have something typed. So that's whereas in ISNULL you could go and run. ISNULL doesn't care about constant nulls. It doesn't care about type values. You could have two constant nulls and you could have two type values. It'll return the first non-null value. Of course, we could go and change this coalesce by converting the null into a varchar, for example. So if you do this, if you convert this to varchar 3 null, now at this point we know this is a null, but we know it is a null of type varchar. So if you run this, then we should be able to, it should work. Yeah, it returns null, so it does not throw an error. And of course you could do a cast here too, like cast, and then it'll have the same effect. So it'll be cast null as varchar, and if you do this, then this should still work. Yeah, so one other difference between coalesce and null is that coalesce requires at least one argument to be typed, whereas ISNULL does not require that. So that's another big difference between them. Alright guys, let's talk about the last difference between coalesce. I mean, there are more differences, but this will be my last example. So I'm going to make this a varchar 1, and I'm going to make this a varchar 3, and then leave this A as null and B as ABC. Let's do this ABC. Okay, I'm going to make this a varchar 5. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do two queries. I'm going to do two coalesces, and I'm going to do two ISNULL select statements, and let's compare the results. So A, B. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to coalesce AB, and then I'm going to coalesce BA. So I'm going to reverse the order. So there you go. So I'm reversing the orders, and then here again I'm going to do AB and BA. Alright, so now if you look at this, run this, you'll notice a big difference here. So actually make this as oops, sorry. Let's make it easy to read so that people understand. Alright, let's run this again. So as you can see, the both coalesce statements returns the identical value. So it doesn't matter the order of the arguments. Coalesce returns the value of A, B, C, D, E, which is a varchar 5. Let's look at ISNULL. ISNULL is a little bit different because it returns A on one case, and it returns A, B, C, D, E on the second case. So that's a big difference between them. So depending on what you use, your data can be truncated. Because ISNULL, it looks at the data type of the first. So in this case, the data type is a varchar 1. So right, and then in here the data type would be varchar. Data type would be varchar 1. Here the data type is a varchar 5. Right, because A is a varchar 1, B is a varchar 5. So ISNULL looks at finds the first null value, finds the first non-null value. So in this case it's B, but A is a varchar 1, so it converts B into a varchar 1 and returns A. And in this case B is a varchar 5. It's the first non-null variable, so it returns A, B, C, D, E. So that's another big difference. COALESCE actually, behind the scenes, what COALESCE does, it looks at data type precedence rules. So, and here's the data type precedence for SQL Server. So user defined types have the highest precedence. The next is SQL variant, then XML, and then if you go down to the bottom, we have varchars. They are low in the totem pole. So so you got to be careful here. If you're doing data warehousing, I would suggest you not use any SQL. I mean, not use any ISNULL. Kind of abandon the ISNULL function. I know it's easy to type because ISNULL is easier to type than COALESCE, but don't be lazy. Just use COALESCE from now on, because ISNULL does truncate data. And let's look at another one. Okay, one last difference. Let's make this an int. And let's set this to 1, and let's make this a varchar. So another thing about COALESCE is that it tries to convert. It takes into account the data type precedence rules. So if you run in this case, where we COALESCE B and then A, we have an error message saying that conversion failed when converting to varchar. So why is that? Why is that? So let's look at this statement here first. Let's look at C1 first. COALESCE here, it's coalescing an integer and a string. So the integer is the first non-null value, and integer has a higher precedence than a varchar, right? So integer is 16, varchar is it should be somewhere here, 27. So it doesn't try. It just returns an int, and 1 is an int. But in this case, the first non-null value is a varchar. But since the varchar has a lower precedence than an integer, COALESCE converts A, B, C, D into 1, and it can't convert a string into a number. You cannot convert A into a number, and because of that, we have a conversion failed error message. So that's another got you. Of course, if you run the same query in ISNULL, since ISNULL doesn't care about data precedent rules, both of these queries should work, and as expected, both of them work. Alright guys, that's it for today. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like the video, please hit the like button or leave a comment. The link to my blog should be in the description, and I will make more videos about how to pass SQL Server and C# interviews. So stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.